The Tomorrow People, episode 18, Smoke and Mirrors. Now, this was a really good episode. I thought it was one of those episodes that's right in the great point of a series where you have to choose between two of the bad guys, and you never know because with these two characters, the two being Jedikiah and the founder, both of them have had really high points of just pure evil in this series that have been displayed. So it's really hard for us to pick who is the quote unquote good bad guy and who was the actual bad guy. And of course, for me personally, I of course thought it was Jedikiah because he just seems like that character. And the founder did do some things that made it seem like he was turning a new leaf with Ultra by not actually taking the magician's powers and just putting a tracker in him. But in the end of this episode, when he does actually recreate the machine and Steven actually gets to meet his father, as soon as he mentions the machine, his father is kind of just like, Steven, you have to listen. And of course, it ends there, but he wasn't exactly happy about it, so it instantly makes me think that the founder is the one who's the problem. And there was another scene where John talks to Kara about how the founder could have easily killed both of them, and he said a specific line that the founder later said himself, and I thought that was really interesting that they had John say it, and then the founder said it himself, that if he didn't actually turn a new leaf, then his daughter's death would be for nothing. And if, he basically didn't keep his word. So I thought that was interesting, but it instantly made him seem suspicious because I actually heard it from him. Like, it was, when I heard John say it, it was like, that's a good point. And then the founder himself said it, and I thought, well, that just seems suspicious. But it was a really good episode. It was interesting to see this new sort of Ultra where the founder is turning a new leaf. At least for this point in time, we'll have to wait and see if he is actually evil. And he could be doing something good, or in his mind he at least believes it's good, like he's going to save all of the Tomorrow People. But this refuge that he spoke of, that he wants Steven to lead all the Tomorrow People to, could actually turn out to be a bad thing. Or maybe what he's planning on doing, technically it would separate humans and the Tomorrow People, and that in itself could be a huge, huge problem for some people who have families, such as Steven himself, where he's a tomorrow person just like his mother, but his little brother isn't. And of course, that could change with Luca. We don't really know yet, but that sort of separation could tear people apart, and the founder sort of wants that separation between the Tomorrow People and humans because he's not sure exactly how people can cope with the fact that they're surrounded by people who can teleport and use telekinesis and telepathy. So it'll be interesting to see how his plan really does play out throughout the rest of this series. But so far, this was a great episode. It's really interesting. It seems like this could have been like the start of the second season or so, because things are so different with Jedikiah being on the run and he doesn't really have all of his resources and things like that. But it was really interesting to see him working on this little tablet the whole time, and it connected to the last episode where in the flashbacks all he was doing was working and it was doing math like an actual scientist. And I actually thought it was really cool getting to see him do that in present time, because before the last episode we never saw Jedikiah doing any of that type of stuff, and it was just really interesting. He was on his tablet and who knows what he was really doing. It was obviously just for show, but he's doing some sort of calculations trying to figure out, how do I save my brother? And he recruits John, and that was his plan B, and his plan A wasn't really great with threatening Steven, or threatening to kill Luca if Steven didn't admit he had powers. But his plan B was to get John or Kara to convince Steven to not trust the founder. So we'll have to really see what his full plan is to really save Steven's father and bring him back. But I love the scene where Jedikiah actually showed John Steven's dad. I can't think of his name for some reason, but when he showed him his body, that was a really powerful scene where John was actually tearing up. I thought that was just really good acting on his part, and it was just really emotional, even though he wasn't saying anything aside from when he called Jedikiah crazy. I thought that was just a really good scene. Like, he was just tearing up looking at his former leader's body, who he thought he killed and pretty much got rid of permanently, because when you kill someone, that's what happens. But I thought that was a great scene, and I'm really curious to see how the rest of this season plays out. I'm not sure how many episodes we have, but they have to be coming up on this season finale, so they might end up finishing off the founder, or we will just ultimately find out what the founder is really trying to do with the Tomorrow People, and I'm really curious to see how things play out. Also, the dynamic between Steven and his brother, and his mother wasn't in it, which I thought was really interesting, but we can still just go on the fact that she is a nurse, so he's kind of been on the run and stuff like that. But I'd like to see her come into an episode and actually talk with Luca and help him deal with some of the issues, because obviously he's going to be avoiding Steven, and he's going to try to avoid his mother too, of course. But I'd like to see her come in and deal with this conflict just like Steven has to. And we also have the little plot point of Kara actually being jealous of Steven and Hillary, his partner. And when she finds him at the end and she can sort of see what he's seeing and they're together in bed, she fears, she admits that she's jealous, but as she put it, even though I'm jealous, that doesn't exactly mean I'm wrong. And she does honestly believe that the Tomorrow People are losing Steven as one of their assets, and that he's just falling into the ultra scam pretty much. So I'm excited to see how that little turmoil plays out. I'm not really excited for it because I don't care too much about the little love spats, and I'm sure in the end they might not end up together. Maybe they will. I don't really know. It's hard to tell, which I guess is good. It's hard to tell in this show if she'll actually just stay with the person she's been with, who would be John, or if she'll continue to try to be with Steven. But I don't think they'll actually be together. They'll just at some point find a way to work through their issues. Because Steven has, and I think it's because he already knew John, so he knows, John's a good guy. I'm okay if they're together, because admittedly they were anyway. But from Kara's viewpoint, it's just Steven's evil ultra partner, which she really is. She tried to get his best friend killed, and she's that type of character. But now that she's fallen for Steven, she could change a little bit, and she's getting closer and closer to the Tomorrow People, because in this episode, even the founder, he was really candid about it when he was talking to Steven, and he said, I know you have a connection with the people. He's like, what? Like, how did you know that? Like, who said that? And they didn't really talk about it. Once again, they always pass over it whenever she gets a little hint, and they show her face, but there's not much else. So they're getting closer and closer to flat out putting her with the Tomorrow People, at least the whole group, because they do put her with Kara and John in this. And I love that scene too, when she asks Steven, like, do you know Kara? He was like, nope. And she walks right up like, hey, Steven. He's like, hey. That was a funny scene. But overall, I love this episode. I thought it was really good, and I'm definitely excited for the next one. So comment below, let me know what you guys thought of it. Favorite parts, least favorite parts. And definitely tell me, who do you guys think is the ultimate bad guy right now? It's one of two people. It's either the founder or it's Jedikiah. But it's hard to really choose. Like I said, right now, I have to think the founder with Steven's dad's reaction. I'd have to say the founder. But comment below, let me know what you guys think, and thanks for watching.